Hey guys, welcome to Movie Reviews, and on this review we are taking a look at The Last Duel, starring Matt Damon.
With a sweet
Matt
ass mullet.
Damon. Yeah, he's got a party in the back, and also Ben Affleck as the king. This blonde, he's got that blonde chin beard. He looks weird, and of course Adam Driver, excellent actor. And I love medieval movies, and so I was definitely going to go see this in the theater. The premise is a long time ago, there, is a little bit different custom when it comes to accusing someone else of potentially taking another man's wife. So you've got these two knights or squires that eventually become knights, and the wife of Matt Damon's character, what is his name? Jean-Luc, or no, that's
he's Jean, right?
It's Jean. It's John.
Crusoe or something.
His wife is taken by Adam Driver's character, and she accuses him, and he's like, "I didn't do that," and so they have to. According to old laws, which they thought was banned, was duel to the death, and let God decide who is telling the truth and who is not telling the truth.
God wills it.
God wills it.
We got it one. We got one of them in here. Did you?
Yeah. And I don't know the actual history of this. If this
it's based on a true event.
If this actually happened, what the conclusion was. My impression was that that this woman actually burned at the stake, but I don't really know what it was or what happened. But I was fascinated to find out. So that was a bonus in the film. But it goes. What I found most interesting in the film, what I think makes it pretty a good film, is that it tells it from multiple perspectives. They have different chapters. Chapter 1,
I like it, but
excellent.
Don't.
Yeah.
I'll expand on that later.
Yeah, the chapter 1 is freaking excellent. It focuses on Matt Damon's character and what he believes is the truth or tells us is the truth. The second one is Adam Driver's character and what he believes is the truth. And the final chapter is, of course, the wife character and what she believes is the truth. So you're repeating the story from multiple different perspectives. And while some scenes kind of, repeat and you're like, was that particular scene necessary?
That's how I feel.
Yeah. There was maybe one too many scenes that kind of bloated it just a tad. But ultimately, I'm glad that decision was made because you have such nuance in rewatching the story. One guy kind of positions himself as the hero, just my love and how caring he is with his wife. And then in the next story, the guy tries to paint the other guy as, it's not narrated by these characters. It's just, presented and told from, a point in time. So, but ultimately, I thought it was a great film. It makes the audience uncomfortable, obviously, with the subject matter and what's shown on screen about, the actual act that's in question. But it was just well shot. You could tell there was a budget there, well acted, and just great. I only have one thing about it that I thought was maybe a little bit annoying or a flaw. What did you guys think?
I think this is, for me, it was like an average or good. I did like the soundtrack in this and the shots, and I love medieval stuff, so the sound was great, and the battles that they were having, I love that stuff. But I do feel like some of this movie should have been trimmed down. We saw it 3 times over and over and over.
See how long
and like you said before, did we really need this? Just point out some of these key aspects.
Yeah.
Kind of tighten it up a bit, and I think this would have been way better for me.
Yeah.
But it
was 2 hours and 33 minutes. That's a long time.
Yeah, I was like, oh god. And plus, the movie was working. We had trouble with that. I'm like, come on, let's just get this going.
So when we went to the theater, they forgot to load the film in the projector.
It was corrupted.
They said it was a corrupted file, so it took them probably about an hour and 20 minutes to get the film going.
But after,
we were sitting there forever.
Like I said, it's just like
so it's like a 3 hour and 30 minute film.
It needs to be kind of trimmed down for me to give it extra points, but I'm still between a good and an average.
I really like this one. I think this is where Ridley Scott kind of shines. I realize that Kingdom of Heaven, it may not be the greatest movie, but it's a movie that we enjoy, and it's kind of it's similar in like the period. This one is significantly more serious. This movie is gratuitous to the nth degree. And I do mean that there are some scenes that are unnecessary. And I imagine in the writing room, they're sitting there, they're slow jerking it, going, we're going to make them watch the whole thing. And they're like, hey, guys, they get the point. It's a sexual assault. Maybe you don't need to show them to completion. And again. And again. He's like, no. I'm going to make them watch twice. It's like I don't need to see it. I got it after
Ridley Scott attempting to make his audience uncomfortable.
Yeah, but so the issue is for me, and I think for the vast majority of people who see this, it gets beyond the point where they're like, okay, this is supposed to make me uncomfortable, and then it continues to go, and then they show it a second time, and it just was unnecessary.
And here's the problem, and I agree with Alex. I understand if you want to show it again, but show it from a different perspective. Actually, have different things happen. Like from this story, it happened differently. From this story, it happened differently. No, it happens the same. But I think that's the kind of point. Because in one guy's story, and we might have to talk about that in spoilers, that there's similarities, and I think it's supposed to be the same in some.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. It's the same story being told from those perspectives. But the issue that I have is like, I get it. I get you're trying to make me uncomfortable.
Kind of annoying.
Mission accomplished, and they're like, oh, we're gonna do it again, and we're gonna make it longer this time. It's like you didn't need to do this. You're gilding the lily.
No, yeah.
Fucking stop it.
100% agree with that.
But other than that,
great acting.
Great acting, great themes. I mean, this thing deals with, loyalty, truth, systematic, sort of sexism against women, and do we believe them?
And I really
are
like
they
this
actually people, or are they property? And we are in the medieval times.
Yeah.
So they're fucking property.
They also said some very interesting things that have been echoed even recently in our courts about women and sexual assault and pregnancy. And it just, one of those things is people will watch this, and if you don't keep up with current events, especially in this country, you'll be like, man, that's crazy.
That's
it's like,
so stupid.
Senators said that a couple years ago.
I think some of those guys are still in Congress.
That's not a spoiler. We could mention that. It's like the court, when they're trying to, get to the bottom of this, is they're so concerned on whether she had pleasure or whether she climaxed, because according to It's Just Science, is you cannot conceive a baby unless you have pleasure or you climax.
Babies cannot happen through sexual assault is something specifically they said.
And it's by rape, and everybody, and they're presenting it like it's science. Everybody knows.
Everyone knows.
You cannot conceive a baby through rape.
Yeah.
And it echoes what has been said recently by fucking morons who are in important positions in the government. It makes no fucking sense. But I like that, that it shows the hypocrisy of this, and we are still dealing with these types of issues today to a smaller degree. I mean, there's a lot smarter people. Arguably. Obviously, we've come a little ways from the medieval
Margaret
times.
Atwood is starting to look like a fucking
property.
prophet right now.
Well, some people still think they are. But that's part of the film's message and why it is relevant to modern times as well as what actually occurred in history. And I got to say, great fights.
Brutal.
It was brutal, bloody, brutal. During some of the battles, you get payoff there. So Ridley Scott knows how to do some medieval action battles. And then the duel itself is very, very satisfying. You're like, okay, this is called The Last Duel. Does it have a satisfying duel? It definitely does. However,
it is the last one.
I didn't think it would end the way it ended. I thought it would be, the opposite, and we can talk about that in spoilers. Maybe I don't know my history, but it's good to go into this film not knowing the history, because you're wondering which side is going to prevail, and let God sort them out. So just a great overall film, and one that I do recommend you see. We saw some good films tonight, so if you're a fan of medieval. films.
Good film.
If you're a fan, and part of it is that medieval battle, that traditional hero.
Yes, I
right?
love that.
That shit is so cool because, of course, it's Matt Damon's character, telling you his truth or his side of the story. You get that, but then you also get the sort of intrigue and the mystery and the thriller aspect of it. It's like what's going on here in chapter 2, and then just the sort of gross, twisted mindset that a person who otherwise could be a good person can dilute themselves into thinking that they're doing the right thing when they're not doing the right thing. And
there's plenty of people like that.
it's positioned perfectly in the film. So, anyways, great film, great acting, great message. If you like medieval stuff, check it out. Let's go with final verdicts.
Final verdicts. I think this is definitely worth a watch at least once. You got to watch it. I love medieval stuff. Great acting. I loved. It kept me intrigued the entire time. I was like, "What is going on? Who's lying?"
Except for the one times we were like, "Okay, yes, come on, we've seen this part. Let's go."
That's why it's like kind of like a big dip in the middle for me because it's like, okay, well, chapter 1, chapter 2, but it's like same thing over and over. It's like, can we just do the key pieces? But overall, I still kind of enjoyed it, so I'm gonna go with a 6 for this one. It would have been better if it was like a
slightly above average. Okay.
Yeah, if it would have been like a little
You're
tighter
tough.
and like maybe like cut like 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more.
It's a
It is
Ridley Scott
bloated.
movie. That's not how that
It
works.
is bloated.
I know.
I will
but-
agree it's
But
bloated.
it's worth a watch, though.
Okay.
Yeah, this is really long. It's self-indulgent. Like it really goes into. It gives you just enough violence if you're into the medieval combat that you'll probably be happy. But if you're not into the drama at court, the intrigue, this is going to be slow for a lot of people. I like that kind of stuff, so I didn't have any issue with it. There's times where I'm watching it going like I like this, but you can just feel that people around you don't like it. And you're like, I don't care, I like this shit. So this is not going to be for everyone, but it really resonated with me. I think that there was a lot of things that they could have cut down to kind of made it a little bit tighter. Eventually, he's going to put out a 4 hours director's cut because that's what he does. And then we're going to get even more stuff. They're going to be slowly. He's going to be with the abacus doing his taxes for an hour and a half, and you're just like,
Which is in the film as well.
Really, Scott? Like this is what we're doing right now.
One character is really good with the
This
taxes.
whole meal.
Yeah.
Just eating the whole
Yeah,
thing.
just slowly doing the oats. I'm actually struggling between an 8 or a 9. Like I really did like this one.
Me too.
I think I'm going to go and round down to an 8. I just do think that there was too much in the middle where they really wanted to drive some things home that's like we got it. Even the mass audience, it's like, look, you had him get it 20 minutes ago. Stop stretching it out. Get to the point. So I'm gonna go with an 8.
8 out of 10. Intriguing, riveting. You're in it the whole way, except for the little bit of repetition that gets a little too repetitious, in certain segments, especially towards the end of chapter 2 and at the beginning of chapter 3, kind of repeating the event. But big budget film with a good message and, reflecting times not only in ignorant old men, but also in women and the way they sort of react to each other and communicate with each other and gossip behind each other's back. And are they really on your side when you say, this happened, believe me?
Everyone's a piece of shit in this movie.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Except for
Everybody's a piece
Jodie.
of shit.
Yeah.
All right, well, The Last Duel, great medieval, big budget, sort of, story. So check it out. And thank you so much for watching. And we will see you on the next Angry Joe Show.
Bye,
guys. Hey, this is the spoiler section. I forgot to mention it before. So, I don't know why, but I was under the impression that she was in history. She was burned. So I don't know why I got that. I don't know if I read something or if I thought
That's usually
in
what
history.
happens back in the
Usually
day.
what
It's like,
happens.
burn her!
I was just like, how is this going to work out into a way where she's going to die at the end?
Yeah, typically in France, they burn a lot of women.
Right, they burn a lot of women. Oh, shit. I forgot one fucking thing I wanted to mention in the review. That's why I take notes. I didn't look at my notes. Nobody has a fucking French accent in here, but like maybe 1 or 2 people. So it is Ben Affleck is just his Ben Affleck accent. Matt
Boston
Damon.
accent.
Matt
So many
Damon.
people are like English accents. It's like, but aren't we in France?
But they're singing in French.
So I can't. So yeah, and then they're singing French songs. So it was confusing for me. I was like, are there a lot of British people in the English or intermingling with the French? Like, no, they just didn't decide to use accents.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
It's
just
fine.
don't worry about it.
It's fine.
Right, not big deal. That's just one small thing. I was like, okay, they're French, sure. But anyway, yeah. So she actually, so they
Nobody
leave it up
knows.
to
It's
God.
a mystery. It's a mystery. I actually had to go.
What's a mystery?
This whole thing, like who was lying and whatnot.
Well,
No, not at all.
in the writing, they say that hers is the truth. Her version of the story is the truth.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking because it was very similar to the Squire.
No, it's not. It's not a mystery because, and it's revealed in the sense that you have the truth according to the first guy, Matt Damon, and he paints himself as a heroic,
hero,
very kind
yeah.
to his wife. When he learns about the rape, he, of course, wants to defend his honor, but he's still kind to her. When it comes to her story, he's not so kind to her. He's like choking her, and he's like, tell me, are you lying? It's like basically treating her like property because he's cold and he's not really in love with her. He's doing, gets with her because she's rich in order to repay his debts. He's in a lot of debt. But the giveaway is that when Adam's character in chapter 2 tells his truth, it actually shows the fact that he is raping her. And she's like, no. And in his version, he's
Yeah.
like, no, I don't want this. But in his mind, his grossness has conceived that as, oh, well, she must protest. She's in love with me. Why wouldn't any girl be in love with me? Because he fornicates with tons of women. He's friends with, I don't know who this Ben Affleck's character, who is like the
He's the
uncle of the king. Yeah, a count. Okay, in a very powerful position. And they're just all constantly having sex, playing, dirty games with women, all sorts of stuff. And, at one point, Ben Affleck is like, I don't like Matt Damon. He's no fun, right? And of course, Adam Driver's character is very fun. And so even in his version, it goes down pretty much the same way that when her story is told, it's exactly the
Yeah,
same
like
way.
I was talking about that too, but like even like the beginning with Matt and Adam, like how the stories were like completely different. He's like, I'm gonna go do this, and he's like, oh, this guy's a fucking idiot. Let's go save him. I was like, I was.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point I was also looking at too. Is like, I wonder how it went down.
Okay,
All the
between
other
those two
stuff.
stories, yeah, you don't really know which one
Exactly.
between those
Yeah,
two
yeah.
is Matt. But I do believe that Matt Damon, it's probably a bit of both, right? Matt Damon is a good warrior, and he's brash, and he'll make snap decisions, whereas Adam Driver is more the one that people like, and they follow him, and he's like, well, fuck, let's go help him. Everybody help him. But when it comes to the duel, obviously, Matt Damon's character is a little bit better at combat. And so, he does everything in his power to have to, or he looks at the options on how he can avoid this duel. First off, his best friend, obviously, Ben Affleck's character is the Count. So the Count's like, well, don't worry, man. I'm the judge.
Deny.
He tells him, is it true? And he's like, yes. And he's like, God damn it. He's like, okay.
Well, he always denied it. He always said that it was consensual the entire time.
Yeah.
And so it's like through the modern lens, you're supposed to be disgusted, right? Like in Adam Driver's mind, like truly in his mind, he thinks that he committed no crime. He thinks he lived and died the entire time thinking he was innocent.
Right.
And he very clearly...
Even his last dying breath.
Yeah,
right?
is I am innocent. And that it's supposed to be like, you're supposed to be disgusted with it. It's like, you clearly raped her. It's like, no. You don't understand from his perspective. This is how he's always treated women. This is how women are treated of the time. And he's like, no. She wanted it. She said she did. She got pregnant, so she had to have, liked it.
I'm amazing. Which it's not Adam Driver's child, right? Because the little boy is blonde and
Ben Affleck
blue-eyed.
is blonde in this movie, and so nothing.
Ben Affleck did not have sex with Matt Damon.
No, I'm
know
just
whose
saying that
baby it
all
was.
sorts of fucking people are blonde for no reason. So it's like,
No.
You don't know who's
Anyways,
baby.
the 3-version structure is really, really fun because you get to see the different angles and you can kind of make your own judgment on that stuff. But there's some clear indications of what really went down. So eventually, once he says, well, I'm going to go to the court in order to do this challenge in combat where it's a fight to the death to see who has truth. Even goes to the king. And the king says, we don't do that anymore. That's outlawed. And then one guy whispers in his ears, like, actually, it's not outlawed yet. And he's like, oh. And you
hasn't
see
been
him, his
done,
king's
but yeah.
eyes, he's like, he's more interested. He just wants to see a fucking battle royale, right? Because he's a kid, and they all love Fortnite. He even mentions Fortnite. In a fortnight, you would like, I'm just kidding. Anyways, so, the clergy is giving Adam options. It's like, look, you have an option to avoid this battle if you just take a religious oath and become a clergyman. Then you can just say that, I'm immune to this.
It's going to piss a lot of people off because
Yeah.
the guy's like, look, our church is filled with rapists.
Yeah,
Like
that's
everyone,
what he says.
everyone in the
He
church is
basically
filled with
says
people who rape women. It's totally fine. It's just like,
This happens all the
people
time.
gonna get
Just
mad.
join us, but Adam's like, I am not a coward, and he wants, again, in his mind, he thinks he's right. So,
But even though, like, in every aspect of those chapters, Matt Damon's a piece of shit.
Matt Damon, except
He's
for
a
the one
great
that
warrior.
Matt Damon
No,
tells
even then, like,
in his own story.
He's still
In his own story, he's actually, but you do notice a few things in his own story towards the end of his story. When he gets knighted, he actually fights pretty much, he's the bruiser. He fights all the king's battles for him. And when he goes out to fight, he gets knighted from squire to knight on the
Everyone
battlefield.
shut up!
Right? And the people are cheering for the previous guy that just got knighted, and then he comes, he interrupts, shut up, this is important to me, or whatever.
Yeah.
He gets knighted, and then he waits for people to cheer for him, and nobody fucking says
Yeah, you were a
He's
dick.
a kiss ass right here.
Right.
God.
Even in his own fucking story. So, when those moments happen, I think it's the character basically telling the truth, and he's just like, this is curious. I wanted to convey this.
They were all in awe.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
So they finally have the duel, and
Epic duel.
it's just epic. It's great. It's a great fight. Goes back and forth. Surprisingly, Adam Driver's character does a little better than I thought because his character seems to have everything gifted to him. He's more of a smooth talker, manipulator, and you don't think that he has the battle prowess, but he actually does a pretty good job. Manages to stab Matt Damon's character sort of in the crotch or next to the crotch.
I thought he was gonna die because I was like, oh, he probably hit an artery there. He's,
Yeah,
he's
Malaria,
dead.
you
what-
dead,
Yeah,
Dave.
he's
That's
dead.
what Ben Affleck's like. Hopefully he bleeds out.
All you have to do is run him around the
That's-
thing. You just
that's
jog
exactly-
around there so you can't catch me because you're
That's
gimpy, and then the
exactly
blood's
what
going
I
to
was-
spurt
yep.
everywhere.
I
And
was like, just keep running, man. I was like, he's gonna squirt out blood and you're done.
yeah, not in the movie.
If it really was medieval times and that really didn't happen, he'd probably be dead after the battle. I'm not sure how good their medical stuff was back then. That was a pretty deep fucking gash. But who knows? Maybe they were able to take care of that shit back then too. But no, so Matt Damon basically gets him into a compromised position. He's straddling him. Adam Driver is basically fucked at this point as he's trying to, and he's like, just confess to me. And he's like, no rape occurred. No rape occurred.
I didn't do it.
Right?
I'm innocent.
You
Based
did,
on-
man. She said no.
No. So, but like that's the important thing is like truly and like in Adam Driver's heart,
Yeah.
he's like, no, I didn't do it.
Yes,
She's an object.
but
It doesn't
he
matter.
Did do it,
Yeah.
and
Well.
he did do it, and then. And he's like, all right, fuck it. And then he kills the guy in the most brutal fashion, like puts the sword through his
Yeah,
fucking
upper palate.
brain.
Yeah.
And it was crazy.
That
And
was
they
very
win.
powerful,
And so,
like imagery too.
Yeah.
Because whenever like it pans to her, she just staring down.
She's about
crying.
She's about to be burned alive.
yeah, that's another
like,
thing.
oh,
It's like
shit.
she's in court, and these men are like, well, was it pleasurable for you while you were being raped? And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It lasts like
No.
seriously 6 pumps in all of the versions. Adam Driver finishes
It's a
in 6
two-pump
pumps,
jump.
and it was just like, oh, dude,
Even
like
in
even
his
his own
own-
story,
yes.
he's just like,
Yeah,
it's like,
done.
dude.
I was like, how is this guy a womanizer? Well, and having sex with women all over the place.
He's a smooth talker.
He's got a lot of time on his hands because he finishes in 30 seconds. According to this guy, it's a race, so he always wins.
It's true. Never lost.
Oh my god. Anyways, during court, they ask her these fucking ridiculous
Yeah, I
questions.
was like-
And they
you're-
lie to
you're
her.
like,
They lie to her about stuff. When you're burned alive, you don't live for 20, 30 minutes.
oh yeah, they do say that you live for 20, 30
were
minutes.
lying.
Shit, I didn't know that. I thought you
Like, how
fucking
the
you
f-
would burn
yeah, like, how the
for at
fuck
least
would you
10
know?
minutes.
No, you pass out real quick.
Oh,
Yeah,
lack
the
of
pain
oxygen.
and
Yeah, if they're smoke inhalation, your body just goes into shock. You pass out, all sorts of things.
Makes sense. Well, I think the whole audience believed that, and she believed it, and
Well,
she's
I think it was-
still stuck with her thing where it's like, no, I'm telling the truth, and that's what it is.
There was a really interesting and almost like
it-
a pretty powerful scene with Matt Damon's mom, where she's just like, "Look, you think you're unique? This happens to all of us. This happens to all the women. They go to war.
I was raped,
This
she
happens
said.
to me. We are objects. We don't get to do something like that." And it's something that she actually
Yeah.
kind of realizes after she gives birth to her kid,
Yeah.
her son, and she's like, "Wow, she was right."
The love that I have for this child,
Yeah.
if I had to do this over again, I probably would do what you did.
Yeah, I would
which
shut the
is
fuck up because
shut the
I
fuck up.
can't, this is my raising my kid, and it's super depressing when you think about it. But like that's
It is.
that's the case. That's how it worked.
Yeah. Luckily, Matt Damon's character is better at combat, and he ends up winning because he's not actually doing it to protect her honor. And this is a scene in her chapter that he's just, he's protecting his name, he's protecting his pride. It's not really about her. He almost views her as property. But she has to kind of go along with it because,
She's got no legal rights without
She
him.
has no legal rights. He is her owner, essentially. But he does actually win, so they are both vindicated, and the audience is like, they fucking brutalize Adam. They just rip his clothes off, drag him through, fucking hang him, and God wills it. So I don't know what they were saying there. It's like, wouldn't it have been more poignant to be like, this doesn't always work out, right? Because it could have been 50-50 if Adam Driver's character was better at combat, right? Because it could end up being that Adam's character, even though he did rapes her, wins the combat, and then she's fucked, and she's literally burned at the stake. But I guess historically, that's the way it happened, and so they managed to win it. And they do some after stuff. They said she never remarried. and
Yeah. Matt Damon dies in a couple of years when he goes off to the Crusades. And then
does
she
another fight.
lives happily ever after with her kid, never remarries.
Yeah, so at least she has a happy ending. I did not expect a happy ending because of kind of the misogyny and the oppression in the old times and saying that women are property. I thought it was going to fucking end poorly.
Yeah,
for
because I
her.
thought they were gonna marry her off with somebody. It's like, oh, gotta go.
Yeah. So, but anyways, happy ending, I guess, for the last duel. But obviously, while it was occurring, it's pretty horrific and interesting and entertaining the whole way through. Yes, they could have shaved 20 minutes off this.
I said more than that.
Yeah, and make it a little tighter so that you would want to rewatch it. But I would rewatch it, but probably
Same,
only once.
But like fast forward.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I know what happens.
Let me see the battles again. All right, well, that's it for the last duel. And we also saw Halloween Kills, so stay tuned for that review. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you on the next AngryJoe show. Bye, guys.